We are in front of Yamaha's fairly new P-525, that's the upgrade to their P-515, and we are today comparing it to Kawai's ES920, an instrument that has been with us for several years. The 525 comes in at around the $1,500 mark USD. Kawai comes in at more closer to the $1,800 mark. These two make for a fantastic matchup. So as always, the point here isn't necessarily to declare a winner, but really to describe to you the differences between these two instruments from my perspective, as well as maybe discern some of the specs so that people at home can make a more informed decision for themselves. I'm going to start with the three things that I love the most about the 525, and then the three things I love the most about the ES920. Item number one needs to be the action. I always found the P-515 action to be pretty heavy, and sometimes I got a little fatigued on it, even though I felt that the range of motion was good. The 525 just has, to me, a more natural feeling geometry and overall weight. So in other words, the dynamic resistance of the key, for me, hews closer to an acoustic grand piano sensation than its predecessor did. And generally speaking, I like the texture and the overall just experience of playing on this keyboard. Two, I really like and continue to like what Yamaha has done with the display. It's a relatively small display, but it's a fairly high resolution monochromatic display, and they use it efficiently and with great effect. And then the third thing that I really like is their inclusion of a USB audio interface. Not only that, but it is at 24 bits versus 16, so the quality of audio you can get out of here and into a DAW for some recording purposes is quite high, certainly at a professional level. Now here's what stands out to me about the Kawai ES920, and particularly when we're comparing it to the 525, is its action. This is the RH3 action. I would say it's one of Kawai's very best actions that they've produced in the last 10 years. In fact, Nord actually selected that action for their use in the Nord Grand product that came out a few years ago. I find the action to be responsive, I find it to be highly dynamic, and from a reliability standpoint, the RH3 has been phenomenal out in the field. Both the white and the black keys have a micro texture on it, so it's not as obvious a texture as what Yamaha's used on here, or say Casio famously uses somewhat exaggerated textures. So the Kawai uses more of a micro texture, and I find it works in a variety of playing styles and settings. The second thing is the quality and breadth of the piano options on here. Not only do you get 21 parameters to play with, including a variety of resonance engines, but the SK-EX sample set, which is single note multi-layered stereo sample sets, is not the only top shelf sample set that you get in this instrument. You've got an EX concert grand that's been sampled in the same way, an SK5 that's been sampled in the same way, as well as a K60 upright piano, which is not like some cartoonish, super out of tune, clunky saloon piano. This is actually like a good high quality upright piano that's been properly sampled to give you a very different texture. So the range of piano options on here that all sound like you're at a professional sampling level is extraordinary, particularly for the price point. And then the third thing that I will mention about the 920 is just how impressive the speaker performance is on this instrument. Despite having a lower rated watt out of those amplifiers, the design of the speaker boxes on this instrument, which includes a air port out the bottom, creates a tightness and a depth of the bass, as well as kind of a lower mid-range, which probably produces the richest piano tone on a set of onboard speakers of any portable instrument that is currently for sale in the market, period. Now, interestingly, both of these instruments include some auto accompaniment, but when it comes to options and a little bit more in-depth controls and possibilities, the Kawai certainly takes the cake here. They've got multiple variations for each style, as well as the ability to adjust what parts are playing along with you at any given time. So on the Yamaha, for example, you can start it up just by pressing up on the Kawai. So you get the rhythm section turned on here on the Kawai. We're going to select, we'll do one finger, why not? And we've got everything up here going. So we're going to get bass drums, guitar maybe, and here we go. Both also have onboard effects, including amp effects, reverbs, and other effects. And they both got onboard recorders. Although the Yamaha brings 16 tracks to the table here, Kawai really just has 2. So if you want to do any serious recording with the Kawai, you are going to want to hook this up through MIDI to a computer. Now let's just hear some samples of the main acoustic pianos on these 2 instruments. in all, I think this one has 44 onboard presets. This one has 38. So if you're somebody out there who really, really loves the sound of this CFX, and you enjoy the feel of the keyboard that they've got on the P-525, and I can't imagine there's going to be very many people who don't enjoy the feel of the 525 or the CFX. Those are both really, really solid offerings in their respective spec classes. And you don't mind the weight of this instrument, either because you're used to lugging a heavy board or you're not going to be moving it around very often. I think the 525 has a lot to offer. It's a little bit cheaper than the Kawai, and its overall piano experience, if you stay confined particularly to the CFX, is quite solid and really a very high value for the price point of the instrument. When it comes to the Kawai, if you're somebody who is going to want some variety and enjoys the variety of tones, I really do think, as objective as I can be between these two instruments, that the depth and the quality and just the level of nuance you get across the SK, EX, SK5, and the upright piano are quite exceptional. And the way in which these speakers present them to you in terms of just the depth and just the refinement, particularly of the bottom half of the EQ range on these instruments, is really great. And for people out there where the weight of the instrument is a factor, the Kawai comes in pretty well a clean 10 pounds lighter than what you were going to find on the 525. So thank you once again for joining us for this comparison video. I love diving into this stuff and really nerding out. Please stick around and check out some other videos on the channel. We have like literally hundreds of digital and acoustic piano comparisons and reviews and other just general piano videos for you to check out. My name is Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube, and we'll see you again soon.